let's go outside, let's take a walk in the sun. There are things to learn and things to see, a big wide world for you, your dog, and me. Dog Talk. Welcome to Dog Talk, guys. I am Pat Becker, and we have a wonderful show for you today. We're going to start with a phrase that maybe you are not familiar with, cadaver dog. These dogs serve as search and discover dogs on things that are deceased. A while back we did a national episode on cadaver dogs, and I thought we might start with that. It'll give a little bit of the explanation and foundation for our discussion today.
We learned the value of a dog when we received information that there was a body buried in about a 10-acre plot. We contacted some people out of Texas and utilized their dogs to do the search of that area. I then became interested in working dogs, recovery dogs, cadaver dogs for the state of Oklahoma.
Jackie joined a program called Action Dogs. Here, citizen volunteers and their pets are trained for search and rescue operations, a key necessity in Midwestern states where severe weather and tornadoes are quite common.
I'm a law enforcement officer. 99% of the working dogs are provided through volunteer groups or individuals.
Rick Johnson, an investigator, is also a member of the Oklahoma Canine Search Council.
The purpose of that council was to bring together as many dog handler teams as we could in the state of Oklahoma and create a resource pool for law enforcement.
Look for it. Good girl.
A cadaver search is the search for dead human remains. Cadaver search can take place on land or in water, and we train our dogs for both. As we use some human remains material that we placed in a pool of water with a waterfall above it. The water was moving rapidly. And then we moved the dogs in downstream, had them detect the scent of the human remains in and on the water, and then had them move upstream and then locate where those remains were. A drowning victim in still water normally is found within 1.5 body lengths of the point where they went down. So if your dog alerts on a scent cone, a narrow scent cone in that area, then you'll know that the body is going to be found within a certain diameter from where the dog alerts. When the dog alerts or tells his handler that he has found what they're looking for, can be displayed through a tail wag, a set stay, a bark, or a combination of all those, or even a digging for the article. That's where the handler and dog working together will come up with an alert or the telling of where that object is through their own training. It'll differ from handler to handler.
Everything that we do, the training, the equipment, everything for the dogs that we do is all strictly out of our own pocket. We do not charge for our services. We go when we're called, and everything that we do is strictly volunteer work.
The time it takes to train a dog and prepare them for tracking and trailing or cadaver work really is dependent upon the knowledge of the handler and the capability of the dog. Normal circumstances notwithstanding, the dog is much more intelligent than the handler. It's just a matter of repetitious, consistent training and rewarding the dog when it does right, withholding rewards when it does wrong.
people think it's neat, but it's a lot of hard work. You're working in the rain, you're working in the weather, you know, with the bugs, you know, in all kinds of dirty, you know, environments, or, you know, it's not really glamorous work. So you have to be motivated and dedicated. My motivation is really building the relationship between my dog and communicating on a deeper level with her. And you do that through the type of intense work that you're doing in this type of training.
I think that working with a dog trained for cadaver or tracking and trailing has helped me bond more closely with the dog that I have now. I've had bird dogs and I've had dogs as pets, but this is more like a partner. It takes a lot of trust for a dog to climb a boulder or a pile of rocks or a pile of debris like we had after the tornado here in the Oklahoma City area in 1999. The dog really has to trust you when you tell him to go into that unknown environment and find what you tell him you're looking for.
And so it is. Of course, between that time and this, there have been a lot of changes. Welcome, ladies. And we have today visiting with us Edie, who is over here, and her dog Rusty. Yes, and this little spotted dog, which I just absolutely love, you know, is I think it's a Catahoula cross, but I'm told that it could be a kind of a definite mix. And Nadine Connor is this dog's owner. Can we get her up so she's facing the camera, because she's got a beautiful head. Come here, Freck.
Come.
So I'm used to searching, and this is a little different to get my close-up.
Now sit.
Now, so tell me about your organization, when you founded it, and you guys are from Kansas, actually. You came from Kansas, and we appreciate it so much. So tell me about what you're doing.
GPS Canines is a 501c3. We were founded within the last year. And our job is to be dedicated to the missing person or the victim. Mm-hmm. And we are training our dogs to the highest standards that we possibly can with national certifications.
Excellent,
To
excellent.
go out and do this job.
Yeah. So Edie, how did you get started in this?
Well, years ago, someone bought a pup from us. We have golden retrievers. We have litters here and there, and they want to do search and rescue. So I went out to watch, and I said, oh, it'll make me too sad. I would cry, you know, looking for the lost child or the deceased person. And she said, yeah, but wouldn't you rather do something than nothing? And I thought, yep,
Absolutely.
good point.
Absolutely.
So that's how I got into it.
And you know, it is, you have to have so much respect for everything that you all do, because as the film said, it is not glamorous. You're out in all kinds of weather. You're looking for parts that are deceased. You know, it is a search, not a rescue so much, but occasionally, sometimes you get fooled. Sometimes these dogs can come upon something that is a rescue, and that to me is definitive with how these dogs are trained. They use their noses, so you have to train them. Now, what do you use certain items that you use?
When we're training the dogs, we do use human source. Mm-hmm. Decaying, we have people that have donated things to us like hip bones. Mm-hmm. We do use some teeth. Not a lot of teeth, because you can lose a tooth anywhere. It doesn't mean that there's a deceased body. True. But we do use actual human remains, because that is the only way to get the dogs to understand exactly what they're supposed to be
And this dog,
for.
I might add, with the actions of her right now, this is the kind of dog you need, and these dogs are not easy to find. As in search and rescue, it takes a certain kind of dog. It can't be a dog that is just excited or excited about a ball, but a dog that has special abilities for this kind of thing. Their nose has to be exemplary, and their attitude has to be such. So it is not easy to find them. I know that Wilma Melville, you know, is looking all the time for search and rescue dogs. People may think they have one, but until that dog is given a test and found out everything about him, it's difficult, isn't it, Edie?
Yes, and it's kind of difficult to live with these dogs. A lot of people say, oh, you must have very well-behaved dogs, and you go, we have great working dogs. But on the behavior, you're looking for a dog that'll keep going after 10 hours, the weather's hot.
Yeah, and that's a good point. These are not supposed to be pets. These dogs get very close to their handlers, so they do get this connection, but it's not a pet that it's not a family kind of thing where it just lays around and does nothing. They are definitively excitable, trainable, and intelligent.
Yeah.
So when we invited you all out, we said, do a demonstration for us. We want to know how exactly you work with these dogs. So we did one. Would you like to see that video?
Oh, we would love to.
All right, let's roll it.
First thing we're going to do is take source, which is what the dogs alert on, and plant it out somewhere for the dogs to attempt to find.
Aha.
This is Canine Rusty. She's just signaled Rusty to go search. He will loop-de-loop, looking for the scent. Once he gets in cone, which means finds the scent, he'll stay with it and lead back to source. Once he gets to source, he'll tell his handler he found it. His alert, obviously, is a bark. His bark is saying, Mom, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. She comes in and rewards him with a ball. Edie uses a high tone in her voice, which is all praise tone, telling him that he's done an excellent job. He loves playing ball with her, so she'll play ball with him for a couple of seconds as a reward. And obviously the handlers act kind of silly when the dog has a find.
So Rusty was really great.
Yes, he did.
So what are
Good
you going to
job.
show
He's
us
really
now?
quick. This dog is Freck. She's my dog. I'm certified with her, and we're going to do an interior barn search.
So how do you do an interior barn search? You just take the dogs in there and let them...
You can either keep them on leash, or you can let them go and just tell them to do the work on their own.
Yep.
The thing is, like outside, you want to make sure that they cover the area that they're supposed to cover. So you have to be aware of what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So we're going to turn her loose.
We're going to turn her loose, and I'm going
Okay,
to tell her to do her job. Freck, find stuff. Now, she did catch scent of something and left it. Let's see why. A lot of the dogs start to figure out that if they do something quickly, then the game's over. So she's working, but because of her energy level, she's working like a crazy girl. So what we do is slow them down. Freck, slow and low. Check, 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 check. Slow, low, check, check. Slow, low, check, check, check. Good. Here, check. This hide here is in a completely different location. Sometimes when source is missing or has disappeared, people will dispose of it into garbage cans. And what we're showing is that there are dogs out there that can locate it when it's in a sealed garbage can. And he did it. What a nice job, Rusty. We're waiting for that bark because he needs to bark to say it's here. Now he's going to figure something out. It was a oops, not that one. The wind was pushing it there. Good job, Rusty. Right. Now this is a shoreline search. If a body or part of a body might be in shallower water along the shoreline. And it appears that Rusty might have some scent because he's awful dedicated to this run area right here. You'll watch, he'll dip his nose, he'll taste the water, and he has definite interest. His tail's actually doing the helicopter effect, which tells us he's got something. The whining is frustration. He's dipping his nose, and he's telling his mom he's got it. Good boy. There are times that law enforcement may call in cadaver dogs to look at homes that have been abandoned, and they feel that something may have gone on in there, and there might be a body. I'm telling her to go slow, check each corner. Check it, check it, check it, Check. Whoa. And nice. Where?
And all the time that we were running that video, these dogs were going crazy saying, I need to do that, and it got her started. You know, that's the wonderful thing about these dogs. And we have made your dogs the dogs of the week. We have a $100 gift certificate for you, Edie, to take to A1 Pet Emporium. And oh, sweetie, we got one for you too, so it's okay. It is quite all right.
Tennis ball in there.
Yeah, there's tennis balls and things to chew.
She wants the ball.
She can have the ball. And here is your, you'll have to get it out of the thing. That's a $100 gift certificate for
there's
you.
your tennis
What fun is this? We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk with Brian Jones and Cynthia Armstrong. You guys are so...
A1 Pet Emporium is Oklahoma's authority on healthy nutrition for dogs and cats. Quality does not have to cost more, and we only have the best. If your pet suffers from allergies, digestive issues, skin infections, or hair loss, it may be the result of their diet. A1 Pet Emporium can help. We offer pet portraits monthly, adorable rescue animals every Saturday from noon to 4, and free dog and cat food samples. Locally owned and operated, we want to be your neighborhood pet store.
One of the hottest topics in our state in this day is State Question 777. As pet owners, it affects us. As farmers, it affects us. Our whole state is affected by it. And I invited a couple people here today to discuss it. Cynthia Armstrong, everybody knows, from HSUS. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you, Pat.
And Brian Jones, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So I would like to sort of turn this over to you and ask you a starting question. What is 777?
Well, State Question 777 is a proposed constitutional amendment that Oklahoma voters will either approve or reject at the general election in November. It would create a new clause in the Oklahoma Constitution that would fundamentally change how agriculture is governed in our state. And not only that, it would also change how animals are governed to a significant degree, because one of the parts of 777 that would be changed under the way the amendment is written is how livestock is produced. And in Oklahoma, our legal definition of livestock includes any animal or bird in captivity. So it's a far-reaching amendment.
Wow. So Cynthia, how important is this for us to kind of become familiar with?
Well, for your viewers who are concerned about puppy mill issues or any animal welfare issue, including cockfighting, this proposed constitutional amendment could be very damaging. It could prevent future regulation, any kind of strengthening of the existing Commercial Pet Breeder Act. If the cockfighters wish to challenge the existing voter-approved cockfighting ban, they certainly could, and might be successful in overturning that ban.
It is really scary. It really is, because it is, I have the feeling of deja vu. We have addressed some of these issues before, and we have been very strong in our definition of how we want, as farmers, you know, ranchers, all of the agricultural people. We have done a successful job to this point. I think what scares people is that they don't know enough about it. You know, coming in and taking over in an industrial way with our agriculture is pretty scary. Livestock is livestock, pets are pets. So how would it affect, say, a breeder in this state?
Go ahead, Brian.
What 777 would do is it would give any agricultural operator the right to challenge laws passed at any level of the state. Now that's either at the legislature, that's county commissions, that's zoning boards, that's town and city councils, that's administrative regulations, and it would give those operators the right to take any decisions made by those authorities into the court system. And not only that, it would allow them to challenge those measures in the court system it would set up an unfair fight, basically, because the particular legal standard that would be used is the same legal standard that we use for protecting our most fundamental rights, like the right to vote or the right to free speech. And it's the same legal standard we use to protect historically oppressed minorities. And we want to set up unfair fights in the court system when we're dealing with laws that do those kinds of things. When the government passes a law that does infringe on our fundamental rights or that does discriminate on the basis of race, then we want to set up an unfair fight. But that is what 777 would do, because it would use that same legal standard.
Mm-hmm. So that what I'm hearing is that if, and just playing a devil's advocate here, if a farmer wanted to farm a certain way and say someone came in and wanted to take over and make it happen a different way, he could challenge that?
Yes, yeah, that's how 777 would work in practice, right?
Okay. So that if all of the, the laws that we have passed, I have found in our state are hard to enact. In other words,
very difficult.
Very
and they're
difficult.
Hard-won fights
Yes.
for the protection
and
of animals.
even if we do legally take a stand and get something that is beneficial to our farmers, ranchers, and pet owners, what are the chances that we will be able to enact those laws?
It will be very difficult in the future to pass legislation, animal welfare legislation, because it will be deemed as interfering with production of or breeding of game fowl or commercial dogs and puppy mills. And also, something that voters need to understand is if the legislature if this passes, and the legislature wants to go back and repeal any of the animal protection laws that have been passed in the future, it would be a virtual impossibility to reinstate them. Mm-hmm. So
you have to alter the Constitution, so to speak,
right.
in that particular way. And I went to a meeting that when they were explaining all of this, and there were farmers and ranchers there that said, "We don't want this. We do not want this."
We have a strong tradition in Oklahoma of having an engaged citizenry, particularly when it comes to agricultural issues. Our farmers and ranchers in this state, they get educated, they vote, they contact their legislators, they have very strong relationships with their legislators. What would happen if 777 passed is that the court system would then have the final say over any agricultural measure. And the court system is a very different arena. You can't have that same kind of engagement that farmers and ranchers have traditionally enjoyed with their legislators.
And most of us don't understand that. I appreciate so much you all coming on, and I wanted to kind of introduce these issues. Will you come back and kind of update us? Because that vote is when? In November?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same day we go to vote for president.
November 8th.
November 8th. So let's come back and talk a little bit more. If you can I'd like to have a farmer on who felt strongly. I'd like to have someone from the pet industry too. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, we will take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some little English bulldogs.
A1 Pet Emporium is Oklahoma's authority on healthy nutrition for dogs and cats. Quality does not have to cost more, and we only have the best. If your pet suffers from allergies, digestive issues, skin infections, or hair loss, it may be the result of their diet. A1 Pet Emporium can help. We offer pet portraits monthly, adorable rescue animals every Saturday from noon to 4, and free dog and cat food samples. Locally owned and operated, we want to be your neighborhood pet store.
What fun. We have Tornado Alley Rescue with us today. Stevie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And Ann is here, and her daughter, and this beautiful, beautiful baby in her lap. And we have this wonderful face sitting here between us. So recently, you all had put out a kind of a call for one of your dogs. And she knows exactly which one. Mm-hmm. Was Penny.
Yes.
So poor little Penny. Tell me about the Penny episode.
Penny actually came out of a puppy mill and was rescued by an elderly woman out in North Edmond area. And the woman only had her for a brief time before she fell ill and died. Oh. And so Penny ended up at the neighbor's house, and we're not exactly sure what happened. We think it was a spider bite. She got a spider bite that became infected, and
Wasn't treated.
Wasn't treated, or wasn't properly treated. We don't know.
Exactly what it was. It was a very, very sad thing, and I think you went on your Facebook or website, you know, and people donated money for her treatment, which was wonderful. And you know, it's so easy to do, folks. If you keep advised, go on these websites, check out everything. Our website, we actually put it up on our website too, and it is so important. All of these kinds of issues that come up, we can help. It doesn't take a lot of money, it just takes a lot of us doing it. So this is really great because Penny is doing better, is she not?
She is doing fabulous.
Wonderful. That's
Yes,
good to hear.
she's really doing fantastic. The eye did have to be completely removed, and she is still battling a skin infection that we're trying to keep out of the incision area. So that's why she couldn't be here today.
Yes, we understand. Well, we hope that you will bring her back when she is healed.
We would love to.
And now, is she going to be fostered, or will she find a home? How are we
She
going to
is
handle
going
that?
to go into a long-term medical foster for now, and then she will be made available if and when she is strong enough to be out of vet care.
Excellent. So she will be put up actually for adoption then. Excellent.
Unless one of my volunteers grabs her first.
I would find it hard not to grab her if I were one of your volunteers, that's for sure.
Well, Penny's lucky to have come across you all because that's wonderful.
It is wonderful. It really, really is. What a wonderful cause, and how wonderful of all of us getting together. This is the way it's done, folks. It is so simple. These wonderful little faces, these wonderful little animals who need rescue. You know, if we stick together, we can make it happen,
Yes.
can't we?
And
so
we actually brought something for you.
Oh.
To say thank you for helping us with Miss Penny. We had one of our volunteers make this for you.
Oh, how wonderful it is. Hold this up for me, sweetie, so they can see it. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that great? That is a super, super, super bracelet. Well, I appreciate it so much, and I will wear it proudly. I certainly will. Absolutely. We thank you so much. And do keep us advised, because if it's needed, we will definitely donate to this cause too. So be sure and keep us updated. Oh, thank you so much. That's just wonderful. Guys, we've had such a good time today, and this makes it all worthwhile. This is the greatest segment in the world, to have these little faces on with us and to have these volunteers, these rescues on who do so much for us. We will talk to you later. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
We're talking about dogs. Talking about big dogs, talking about little dogs, oh yeah. Chasing the ball, chasing the cat, digging holes, thing like that. Dogs, talking about dogs. Laughing dogs, sad dogs, happy dogs, mad dogs.